Being a single mother or a single parent is something I know nothing about from experience, but I have seen my mom live many years as a single parent to 3 kids. Are you thinking of leaving your partner and becoming a single parent? Are you currently living as a single parent and need some guidance? If so, today's episode is for you. Welcome aboard the podcast, A Woman's Spark with Janik, a podcast to show women how powerful they are and remind them of the spark that they carry, the strength that gets us up every time we fall, a place to feel seen and understood when we don't fully have what it takes to get back up on a hard day. This podcast is to help you heal and become the best version of yourself during the roller coaster of life. We're building a community of women that want to help one another and inspire each other to become stronger and more united as we were born to be. On today's episode, we're going to be discussing what it's like to be a single mother, from managing finances to coordinating schedules, to juggling all the various steps of life a child goes through and making the tough decision on your own. What is it like to be a single parent in today's world? As I mentioned earlier, being a single mother or a single parent is something I know nothing about, but I witnessed it with my mom at different stages in my life. Her experience as a single parent, her different struggles, putting herself aside for her children, and so much more. That's the experience I have with it. Single mothers do the best they can with what they have. From the means available, help available, knowledge they carry, single parents do what they think is best for their child in the moment. It may not always seem like the best solution or the best someone else would do, but that's like an opinion. To each their own. Did you know that globally a significant number of households are headed by single mothers, with an estimated 101.3 million single mothers worldwide? Also globally, approximately 8% of all households are headed by a single parent, with 84% of them being mothers. Did you know that millennials now comprise of the highest share of single mothers in a household? Today's guest is herself a sparkling superwoman who's a single mother, a singer, an actress, an influencer, and so much more. She navigates between all her roles and thrives to create the best life possible for herself and her son. She is Tabi Yosha. You can find her on all the social media platforms. She even talks about her journey as a single mother on there, as well as putting all of her creativity and sparkle right up front for you to see. So if you're looking to find help with your own journey as a single mother, or maybe guidance if you're looking into becoming a single parent, you're at the right place. Let's take a short break and welcome her after this. Welcome back to a Woman's Spark podcast with Janik. Today on a Woman's Spark podcast, we're welcoming Tabi Yosha. As I mentioned earlier, she's a single mother. I also forgot to say she's a real estate agent, an influencer, a singer, and an actress. She's here to talk about her experience as a single mother through her life journey. Please welcome our spark of the day, Tabi Yosha. Hi, Tabi.
Hi, how you doing?
Good. Yourself?
I'm doing amazing.
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast to talk about your journey as a single mother. And I would like to just start by asking you to tell us your journey as a single parent from maybe the get-go. Was your son born and you were already a single mother? Tell us your journey as a single parent.
Well, I was actually pretty young when I got pregnant. I was actually only 21. I know that
Okay.
it doesn't sound like I was that young, but having a baby at that age is crazy.
Yeah.
So I was 21 years old, and I remember when I saw the test, I was shocked. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say. And then I told my boyfriend at the time, which was the father of my kid, that I'm pregnant, and he was so happy. And then he's like, "Oh my God, I want to tell my entire family. Like, I want to." Like, he was happier than me, right?
Wow.
Well, I was happy, but then I was a little bit confused at the same time. because I already had like my career. I was already working for Air Canada. I was singing. I was already touring. Like my career was going very good. So I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna be a mother at 21 years old. And I actually hid my pregnancy for like 7 months to my family.
7 months.
Yeah, because I was
Wow.
very skinny. Yeah, I was very skinny,
Okay.
so nobody could see my stomach, and I was wearing like
Baggy
baggy
clothes.
clothes and stuff, you know? So like my sister knew, some people knew, like some of my friends knew, but like my dad, like my extended family, like my aunts and my uncles, I would be hiding and stuff, you know? So
And he didn't hide it from his family. He told
no,
everyone.
no, yeah,
Okay.
he told everyone, all his friends. He was so excited, right?
Right.
And then yeah, we broke up when my son was 4 months.
Okay. So
Um
he when did you tell your family then? And how did that
7 months, when I was 7 months pregnant.
7 months? And how
Yeah.
did that go?
My dad was like, what? He
Okay.
was a bit mad. And
Hmm.
then my uncles and my aunts and stuff, they were just like, oh my God, a new baby. You know what I mean? Like it's extended
A new
family. So
member
it's
of
like,
the family.
yeah,
Yay.
yeah. So it was
Okay.
extended. But like I was scared. I don't know, because I was judging myself. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
anyways.
So forward 4 months, he goes. What happens there?
Um, well, we broke up for certain reasons.
Okay. That's fine.
And then I went to court to have like full custody, well, not full custody at that point, but to have like control over like how the visits were gonna happen and stuff like that, because my baby was only 4 months and I was still breastfeeding and stuff.
Mhm.
So we went to court. It was pretty ugly.
Mhm.
But then he
It's
was,
never pretty court.
no,
Yeah.
never. So then he was still able to see he was able to see the baby like every Sunday
Okay.
that he come, not that much. So and then after that it just faded away. He never came back, and here I
And so
am being a single mother for real, for real.
okay, and how does your son see his father to this how old is your son first of all right now?
My son is 11 years old.
11 years old. It's a
Yeah.
good age, isn't it? Is he starting high school next year?
Yeah. Well,
Oh.
he's like it's as if like he's 16 years old already. You know what I mean? He's
Oh
tall
yeah.
and like he has friends and he's so cool, and he's into like rapping and singing, and he dances, and he's in the football team for next year for high school. Like
At
he's
least
like
he's
a,
busy. That's good. That's really
yeah,
good. Yeah.
yeah, he's like a cool kid.
Yeah. So does he see his father still
No,
or
not
no?
at all. So I just got full custody of my son last year.
Okay.
Um, and I got his new passport, and then we actually went on our first vacation in the south. You know, like we went to
Woo!
Puerto Rico, yeah, for spring break.
Okay.
And I got so much. Oh my God, I'm gonna get emotional. My makeup looks too good for that. So, yeah, we went to Puerto Rico like without having to ask anybody for permission or whatsoever. And when we were in Puerto Rico, my son was like, Mom, it feels like a dream. You know what I mean? Like, because we traveled, we went to New York, went to Boston and stuff like that. But it's like, it wasn't like going to like an island. You know what I mean? To like,
Yeah, yeah.
you know?
Traveling, going to another country where
Yeah.
it's not crossing the border by car. You're taking a plane, you're
Yeah.
organizing it, you got a hotel, and
Yeah.
now so I asked this because I myself, my mom had me at 23,
Yeah.
and my biological father wanted nothing to do with me. So that's where I kind of like,
Mm.
maybe I'm poking, but I'm curious from maybe myself at the same time.
Yeah.
How is your son seeing, how does he see not seeing his father?
Um, well, he's never really had a father, you know what I mean? Sometimes it's hard for him. He doesn't talk about it that much.
Okay.
Um, yeah, he doesn't really talk about it that much, but I know that it affects him a lot. but he
Okay.
just doesn't see anything. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Like I try to talk to him most of the time, but he's like, I got you, mom. He's like, I'm good. I'm like,
Oh, well, there you
okay.
go.
Yeah, yeah.
What's it like making all those decisions for the mom and the dad, being the mom and the dad? Because whether or not we like it or not, you have to, you know, lay down the law as much as you have to be comforting your son. So how's that part?
It's very challenging, if I can put it like that, because I have a son that likes to express himself a lot. He's like a free spirit, you know what I mean? So, and he's not afraid of adults.
Okay.
I know, I don't know if you get what I'm saying, but
Yeah,
like
but
in class,
okay. So
you know, like,
but he's been raised by an adult, probably
yeah,
been around adults his whole life, and
yeah.
children at school, but then also when you were saying earlier, your family members, they were probably all adults or
Hmm.
a good large majority of them. So he was raised with adults, so he probably doesn't have a problem speaking to adults and giving his
Exactly.
opinion.
Exactly. And he's a Leo. I don't know if you believe in astrology
Ooh.
or whatsoever, but he's a Leo, okay?
Yep. Okay. So he's headstrong, knows what he wants,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
will go by as many means as he can to get what he wants.
Exactly. And he loves attention.
Okay.
And
And
he's
loves it.
funny.
So
Yeah.
what does Tabby do then?
Well,
When
I
you
try
know
to
it's not the right thing for him and you're having to lay down the law and going, no, no, no. What
I
do you
try to
say?
talk to him and I tell him, like there's a place for everything.
Hmm.
In class is not a place for you to be like making everybody laugh and being the joker of the class and stuff. Like you need to study and do your things. You know what I mean? So I explain that to him all the time. And then he's like, well, I already understand everything that they're teaching at school. So I don't really need to listen. But I'm like, you do have to listen because some stuff you don't know. Some stuff you have to learn. I'm like, you want to be an artist, you want to be a rapper, you want to be a singer, you want to do this, you want to do that, you want to have a radio show. In order for you to have all of that, you need to know how to write a full sentence correctly. You need to have a good writing. You know what I mean? So it's not like
Yep.
you need to learn how to express yourself correctly also. So I'm like, these things you're gonna learn with mommy, yeah, but also at school.
Yep.
So when you want to make your friends laugh, it's gonna be on when you're outside with them. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I talk to him a lot. He comes to my show, so he sees what I'm doing because he wants to do the same. So it's kind of like easier for me to bring him back on Earth
Yeah.
whenever he's flying too high,
Yeah.
because I,
Yeah.
because
You
I'm
know,
like, I'm,
you've walked in the shoes, so he's walking in your shoes. So you're able
yeah,
to you're probably his role model. Obviously, as his mom, you're his role model, but like for
yeah,
work, for the future, he's looking at you like, okay, she's taking this step. So you're probably in a position where he respects, obviously he respects what you've got to say, but as a teenager, you know, often teenagers don't fully respect what
uh,
what their
uh,
parents are saying, but because you're doing it for your own work, there's a value there where the your son is probably looking at you going, better listen to her.
yes, sometimes,
Sometimes.
sometimes, but yeah, he's what, and also the other thing that's good and weird, because I'm not gonna say bad because not it's not that bad, but he thinks I'm his best friend also.
Uh-huh.
That's another thing.
Hmm. So
So
how do you
uh-huh.
deal with that? How do you deal with him thinking you're the best friend but having to lay down the law as well? Because I keep coming back to that because the I find that the relationship between parent and children, there's a fine line between wanting to listen to them and let them be open and let them be who they want to be and have them communicate, but also showing them the right way as best we can, even though they tend to not always listen to us. So, so yeah. um how do you manage to let him be soft and caring and then not being the friend?
um I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm really still trying to figure. Sometimes I'm like, I'm not your friend. I'm like, today I'm your mother. So
Yeah.
like, you see like your wording and stuff. I'm like, you're gonna have to like slow down. And
Yeah.
like sometimes whenever he hangs out with like some type of friends, he's gonna come back home and he's gonna talk a certain way, or he's gonna wear his clothes a certain way. And I'm gonna be like, you see that friend? You need to delete that number. This y'all cannot be friends, okay? Cannot be friends.
Oh my God. Oh, does that work?
Most of the time, yes.
Okay.
Cause like the other day he's like, mom, I'm like, I really like this friend, but he talks bad to his mother. I'm like, really?
Oh.
I'm like, you better part
Hmm?
ways. Cause
It won't work
that's
here.
yeah, exactly. I'm like, y'all gotta part ways.
Hmm.
And then yeah, he's like, I really don't like that. I'm like, it doesn't look good, right? So I'm like, whenever like you're acting weird with mommy, just think about your friend that's talking bad to his mother, so you get straight again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's like, you're right. I'm like, you should not talk to him anymore. And he's like, you're right. So then he came back from school and he's like, Mom, I don't talk to him anymore. I'm like, really? I'm like, so what did you do? He's like, I went and I told him the reason why I didn't want to talk to him anymore. I'm like, really?
And what did he say? I mean, it's like, wow.
Well, he's like, the way that you're talking to your mom is
Okay.
not what I like to see, or like I don't want to have people like that around me. So I think it's better that we part ways. That we don't
How
see each other that often anymore.
how mature.
He,
How mature. That, you know what? That is all you.
yeah.
Hats off to you. No, but
Thank you.
I mean, it's important to hear when we do things right. And if your son is able to go and communicate that at 11 years old to his friend, that he
Mhm,
can't be around him because he doesn't like the way he speaks to his mom, and actually acts on what he says as well
mhm.
as saying what he's got to say, that's on you. That, congratulations. Hats off to you, Tabby. That
Thank
is,
you.
you've done something great there.
I think so. I think I'm actually doing my best. You know what I mean? I'm doing my
Yeah.
best. But I think my
But
son is great.
yeah, I mean, in the introduction, I said, as parents, we do the best we can with what we have,
Mhm,
and the way we resolve one thing may not be the same way another person would resolve the same
mhm,
situation, but it's like an opinion. We do our
mhm.
best with what we have, and good job. Your toolkit is amazing.
Thank
Yeah. I am wondering, because for listeners out there who are either thinking of leaving their partner, who may become a single parent, or are single parents, how do you juggle with your schedules, with the time? Because you're a singer, an actress, an influencer. I mean, that carries out, you're basically an entrepreneur. You work
you.
at any time of the day. How does
Mhm.
that work for you in terms of your schedule? Or how do you balance it all?
I really think the universe is on my side, because
Hmm.
even me, sometimes I'm like, how am I even able to go to the school reunion with like with how do you, the principal and stuff? I'm like, how am I able to be here? And then in 5 minutes, I'm gonna be on set, and then in 2 days, I'm gonna be in another city. I do not know how I do it, but I do it because I don't give myself the opportunity to tell myself that like, oh, I'm not going to be able to do it. I never tell myself that I'm not going to be able to do something.
Mm,
So
that's a
if I
spark.
want to do, yeah, exactly.
That's a
So,
spark. It's just never always getting back up and just doing what you have to do, and it just
yeah,
fits.
yeah. And I'm a big manifester. I don't know if you believe in spirituality or stuff
Yeah.
like that, but like I'm a big manifester. So I always ask the universe for time. And whenever I ask the universe for like a new gig, a new role or whatsoever, I always ask the universe to make me to prepare me to be ready for the role, to prepare me to be ready to fix my schedule in order for me to be able to be a good mom and to be there for my son and to be there for what I love to do in life.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it always works out. Always works out.
Karma's good. You send out
Yeah.
good, it's going to give you back good, right?
Always, always,
Yeah.
always, always, always. And I never doubt.
No,
I'm never in doubt.
that's the
Never.
key. That's the
Yeah.
key. Never doubt.
Yeah. Put the ego aside.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Tabby, outside of managing schedules and everything, let's put aside the part of your son.
Mhm.
What is the hardest part of being a single parent for anyone who's listening? Like what are the hardest juggling parts?
Um, well, I'm gonna have to say that taking the decisions by myself all the time
Mhm.
is hard. Like, especially with my son, that's he like he talks a lot in class and stuff. Like I always have to be at his school for something, you know what I mean? Or like whenever parents like has to text me and tell me, "Oh, I would like to talk to you because this and that happened with your son and my daughter, or your son and my son," and like I'm exhausted.
You're
Like I
dealing
just
with
came
your
back.
own life. You're having to deal with your son's life and the other parents and the other child and
Exactly.
oof.
So sometimes when I see texts like that, I'm like, oh, I can't. I'm like, can you call me in 2 days? You know what I mean? And then 2 days later, I'm here talking with the mother on the phone. Sometimes it's like it's super chill. Like it's not that deep. But some other times it's like I'm like, okay, I'm sorry for my son. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
they're kids. They're
But
kids.
also, it's like dealing with not just kids, but the parents sometimes can also bring their own layer of kidness, right? So
Uh-huh.
it's like, oh yeah, juggling all everybody's personalities is not easy. Do you
No.
ever get help from, let's say, your family members, or do you ask for help around? How do you get any of that?
Well, they babysit my son, but for all the decisions, I feel like I have to take these decisions.
Yeah,
You know
because
what I
your son is
mean?
your son, right? So at the end of the day,
It's always on my shoulder. Even when I'm not with my son, he's still my son and he is still my responsibility.
yeah.
Even though he's getting babysat by my parents,
Mm,
he's still my responsibility. Like they're helping me, like their family and stuff, but he's my kid.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So you never dissociate from your kids.
yeah.
Never. You know what I mean? So I think that's the hardest part, like having to having only my heart to take all these decisions by myself. It could be heavy sometimes.
I hear you. It's I'm in a relationship and it can be heavy. Well, my daughters are heading into the teenage years, a bit
Yeah.
like your son, 11 and 13. And I can't imagine having to, just bounce those emotions and questions in my head on my own. I get I'm lucky enough to be able to bounce it with a partner.
Uh-huh.
So I can't imagine what it must be like to just bounce all of those and think, am I doing the right thing? Am I on the right path? Am I destroying my son's life? Am I going to make his life
Always.
miserable?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm always scared to like miss something.
Yeah.
I'm always scared. It's like
What do you rely on to take those decisions? Because I think anyone who's listening, and obviously everyone's thinking, geez, yes, they're right. It's hard to make those decisions, but as a single parent, how do you get to the final decision? How do you process that?
I burn incense, I burn sage, I burn Palo Santos, okay? I meditate, okay? I put some meditation music all around the house, and when I sleep, I put hypnosis music, okay? So that's how I with that I meditate a lot.
Mhm.
That's it. I meditate a lot. I ask my guides to make
Yeah.
me take the right decisions. Um yeah, and that's how I go through life. That's how I deal with all the decisions that I need to take.
Do you surround yourself with a few people who you can maybe bounce those ideas off? Or like, do you go back to your parents or friends or other co parents that are around that you sometimes go like, oh yeah, this one's a tough cookie. This one's a tough one to. I'm not sure about this one. What do you do in that?
Yeah, I have one of my friends, but I just met her, so she's new. She's kind of new to my life,
Okay.
and she's a very good addition to my life also because she's a real tough cookie. Okay, you know. So I talk to her sometimes, but most of the time I take all the decisions with the universe, and that's it. Yeah.
Before we take a quick break, I have one last question,
Mm-hmm.
which if I go back to when I was young and my mom making those decisions, I think I saw her once get angry at a passerby because that passerby had an opinion of what she was doing or how she was dealing with the situation that was happening at the moment. What do you do with people who lay judgment on a decision you've made or a comment you've made to your son on the street, or as a single parent, where do you go from there? Like, how do you deal with that kind of judgment?
I fight back a lot. Not a lot.
I
Like
believe you.
I talk, and I don't just talk without knowing.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I talk and I have like bullet points, and I'm like, for this reason, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And then most of the time people are just talking without like doing research.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then they're coming at me, oh yeah, but what you're doing and I'm like, okay, why? And then they have nothing to say. So I do a lot of research and I fight back, not physically, right?
No, no,
But
no. But you stand your ground. You're mama bear, right? You got
yeah,
to
yeah,
protect your cub.
yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. I even had to how do you say that? I had to come on, son.
Say it in French.
Even in French, I don't even have the word in Oh my God. Yeah, I had to file a complaint against the school because a teacher did something bad to my kid. And then I wanted my son to go into another school because the teacher was kind of like still there. Okay.
Okay.
And the school board said no.
The school board said no.
They said no.
So he couldn't change school and he had to
They,
continue in a situation that was
he had to
uncomfortable.
continue. My son was never gonna continue. Okay, you know what I did? I kept my son at my house for 3 months. I hired a tutor that he
Okay.
was seeing every day, 3 hours every day, money out of my pocket, until the school board said yes. And I was actually gonna put my son in a private school, because private school or have their own school board or whatsoever.
Yeah.
So I was gonna subscribe him to the private school, and then when they knew I was gonna do that, they called me. They're like, okay, 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 he could change schools, and that's why my son didn't go. But my son didn't go to school for 3 months.
Wow. It takes a lot of, I'm not sure I want to say the word, it takes a lot of balls or a lot of guts
Yeah,
because we're
yeah,
talking to women, right? So it takes a
yeah,
lot of guts to
yeah.
do that, and love for your child
Mm-hmm,
and devotion
uh-huh,
and putting a lot of selflessness,
yeah,
right? You could have just said, okay, I'll leave you there because, it's money we don't necessarily have to keep you, money and
uh-huh,
time to keep you at home and with the tutor and everything. Wow.
no,
I'm impressed. I'm impressed, but you seem like that kind of person who just will fight for what you believe in. Fight
yeah,
for your son, fight for your values.
uh-huh.
So wow, I'm oh, sorry, there's a lot of emotions in
Uh,
there that you did that, because not every parent would have done that. So just wow. I'm really
not
sorry.
because,
I'm getting a lot
but
of emotions here coming
yeah,
up.
but it's not because they don't want to. Because if I was another person, if I was another woman, I could have just said, okay, my son's gonna stay in that school. It was so hard.
Mhm.
It was so, you see, like I'm strong and everything, but it was so hard.
I bet. I
Another
bet.
mother, yeah, another mother could have killed herself. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I
That's
mean,
why I want to fight for all the single mothers that are going through a lot of problems, especially with schools. Whenever their son has their kids have ADHD, or when their kids have other problems, they're autistic or whatsoever. These single mothers have a lot of problems with the schools, and they have
I
nobody to help them.
I have my daughter is ADHD and dyslexic, and I can't imagine doing that on my own. So being a single parent and fighting that on and getting no help and just get the door shut in your face and feeling like you're hopeless
Mhm.
and just keep fighting, because obviously most parents would just keep fighting, right? Because they love their children and they want to keep going. But that's a totally different subject in the sense that, the PTSD of being shut down, right? The spark to get back up, and but on top of all that, being alone and fighting on your own, I'm really sorry you went through that. You know what? I say I'm sorry not because of whatever happened to your son. I'm saying sorry because it must have felt lonely, and you did it for your son and you did it for the love that you have for him. But I'm sorry you went through that uh, on your own. So I'm really sorry about that.
Thank you, but I did it, and I did it so I could help other single mothers. Okay,
Wow.
so
I didn't
yeah.
think we would have so.
Girl, we're just starting. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Trust me. Mm.
I'm trying not to cry. See, you started crying a little bit at the beginning. It was no, it's on my side. So, uh,
Well, it's a
can take a.
sensitive subject, so.
It is, and as women, we. I mean, mine is in a different field, but it's like we tend to be shut down more often than men do. If let's say the father had come to the school to say the same situation about your son and talked about what he was going through, they would have found a solution. And I
And
hate to have to bring up that it would be different with men. I hate to have to say that, but it would have been different.
yeah. But imagine something else. I don't like to pull the racism card, but imagine living in a neighborhood where, because I live in the suburbs, so I live in, I'm not going to say it, but I live in the suburbs, okay? So
Okay.
there's not a lot of people that are my color right here.
Yeah.
So imagine being a single mother and being Black and being alone.
Hmm. I'm really sorry. It's not okay. It's not okay. Tabby, we're going to take a minute to recover from this. We're going to take a little break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to a Women's Spark podcast with Janik. Woof, we left on a note of a lot of emotions. Today on the podcast, we have Tabi Yosha. As I mentioned earlier, she's an actress.
Mhm.
She's a real estate agent. She's a singer. She is an influencer, and oh my word, she so many things. I mean, she, I don't know if you've heard, there's so many songs that she's written. She's coming out with an album. There's The Truth Lays is one of her songs. Around You, Le Drapeau Blanc, and so much more. She's going to be performing at La Fierté Montréal Festival on August 3rd. And you can find her on all the social media platform if you write Tabi Yosha as it's written down below. So hi again, Tabi.
Bye.
Hi. So we've discussed your journey as a single parent, and we got a little bit emotional earlier. Talking about how women are seen out there, and the added layer of complication when it comes to fighting for either ourselves or people that we love around us. However, no matter how hard no matter, it takes nothing away from the hardness of being a single parent, but you mentioned to me earlier how you see a lot of positive, and
Mhm.
I love to hear about the positive of every situation a woman goes through. So tell us what you see is a strength as being a single mother, and what are the beautiful experiences that have come out from that.
Well, honestly, he's my best friend. Like I told you before, it could be a good and a bad thing at the same time, but he's my bestie. And then he's so smart. So sometimes he's just talking to me. He's like, "Mom, you should do this, and you should do that, and you should wear this." And then, you know what I
He's
mean?
your biggest cheerleader then.
Yeah. And he's so cool and so cute. And I remember when he was like 2 or 3 years old, he's like, "Mom, I can't do this." And I'm like, these words are not welcomed in our home because nothing's impossible. Like everything is possible if you believe in it, right? So I used to tell him that
Yeah.
every day and every day. And then one day he's like, "Mom, can you make me a dinosaur with like it was like mud or something?" And I'm like, "I can't do." And I'm like, "Oh no." I'm like,
Yeah,
I
you got
can,
to
I
stick to your
can do
word.
it. Yeah, exactly. Like, mommy's
I
gonna
have to
do
do
it.
it.
It was a Play-Doh, not mud, Play-Doh.
Okay.
So then I'm taking the Play-Doh and I'm doing the dinosaur. And actually, I did a cute dinosaur. And he's like, "Oh my God, Mom, you're so good." I'm like, "You see? You
Anything's
everything is
possible.
possible." Exactly. So since that day, I've been working hard for my careers. I've been working hard. Like I was working for insurance, I was working for Sun Life. And I remember I was like, I do not like this job. I'm an artist. Like I am an artist. And if I want to create money, I will create money. Okay.
But you,
So
you have, in a way, we have to. But yes, you got to
yeah.
do what you got to do, right?
Yeah, and then I left Sun Life, and then I started my own singing class company. So I would go to people's houses and give them singing classes at their homes. And it was working so well. And then after that, I started doing backup vocaling for big artists. And then after that, like I took my solo career back in my hands, and then I signed with a label, and then I released my first EP, and then I toured last year. And it's just like all of this is because of him. You know what I
Wow.
mean?
Yeah.
Because he teached me, like while I was teaching him something, he was teaching me something bigger. You know what I mean?
He was your spark.
Yeah.
He was your why and your spark. And oh, you make me want to. You kind of lose that. I mean, I'm not saying, stay in your relationship just for the sake of that, but it's like we get comfortable
Hmm.
when we're two, and I love that fire you have in you. It's like I just can't let go. I just got to keep
No.
going,
Hmm.
and whatever happens, I just got to keep going. And wow, 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 wow,
Yeah.
wow.
And it's crazy because I did a TV show called Quel Talent, right? So
Hmm.
it's like America's Got Talent, but in Quebec.
Yes.
And my son he's always playing tough, like he doesn't really cry that much, you know what I mean? Like when he gets hurt, he cries. But like at 11, he's like, "No, I'm good." No, 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 So I remember I sang a song, and then my son came in the backstage to come see me, and they were filming, and I'm like, "Did you like it?" And then I saw his eyes were all watery. I'm like, "Are you okay?" And then I'm like, "Did you cry?" He's like, "No." And then he started crying. You could actually see it on YouTube. I'll send it to you after. But like, and he was crying, and I was like, "This." You see, the same way that you told me that was my why. He
Yeah.
is always my why. You know what I
Oh,
mean? And he was crying, and I was like, like
it's
I
every
really have to make this right for him. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Because everything you do is going to transpire in whatever he's going to do or whatever he does. Oof.
Exactly.
Oh, shivers.
Yeah, and there's always something that I tell him because when he was like 2 or 3 years old, I auditioned for La Voix, right? So I did the audition with the chairs and stuff, and they didn't turn around. I did it like twice.
Oh, the voice. Oh, yeah, okay. So
Yeah,
La
the
Voix.
voice.
Yes, so in Quebec,
Yeah,
yeah.
La Voix. And then there was Pierre Lapointe, right? That was one of the
The
judges.
Justice.
and it didn't turn around. Nobody turned around. And then a few years later, like, I'm signed to the same label that he was signed to, you know what I mean? And
Really?
I always tell that to my son. I'm like, you see, it's not because the door closes that there's not like a garage door that's waiting for you somewhere. Okay.
Keep knocking on
Mm.
every single door, and it's not because one closes
Mhm.
that it won't reopen again later, or another one will open.
Exactly.
Oof.
So,
You know what? You just answered my next question because I was going to ask you what is one thing, one most beautiful change in yourself from since becoming a single parent? But like you keep saying, it's like getting back up, resilience,
mhm,
uh, having your why. And
mhm.
but can you think of something else that has changed in you from being a single parent from the time your son was born at 22 to today? Obviously we grow and he's 11 and time passes on, but other than resilience and getting back up,
Mhm.
is there another thing you can think of?
I just don't doubt myself anymore since he's been born. I don't doubt. Like I told you,
Yeah.
nothing is impossible. Everything is possible, actually. Everything is possible. Like, everything is magic. Like, if you start believing that life is magic, life will be magic, even through your ups and downs.
You answer my questions before I ask the questions. I love it. Ah, I love what you just said. Yeah, just keep going. Because I was going to ask you for anyone who's listening right now
Mm,
and who are in a rut, who are just in that moment of finding it really hard to be a single parent and
mhm.
wondering either why the hell did I do this to myself, or should I do this, or what's going to happen to me, or I have to make this new decision. What advice would you give to those women?
To produce your life's life like it was a movie. You are the producer of your life. So produce your life the way you want it to be. So if today you live in a 3.5 with 5 kids, take a piece of paper and start writing on a piece of paper, I want to be in a house with 8 rooms and this and that and this and that, and then write a date on it and believe it with no doubt that you will be getting that.
You said
And
something earlier that you have to live as if you're already in it. You said that
yes,
at the very beginning of the podcast, is like I'm living every day as if I'm already there.
yeah,
Yeah.
I manifested everything that I'm living in this life right now. I manifested all of it.
Mm,
Every single thing. I'm going through some rough patch sometimes, but they're important in order to bring me where I'm supposed to go. You know what
mm.
I mean?
Maybe stop seeing the hard times as something that's stopping you, but more as something that is building you to where you want to be, to wherever you've imagined yourself you're going to be.
Exactly.
Wow.
And your light is in your kids' eyes.
Mm,
So whenever you start feeling like your light is not bright enough, just go look in your kids' eyes. It's everything is there. The secret is in your kids' eyes.
mm.
Everything is there.
Wow. Oh, you talked about you've accomplished all of your dreams and everything that you've imagined and
Uh-huh.
visualized. It's happened. Is
Uh-huh.
there something you'd like to? What's your
Yes.
next thing you'd like to visualize? What's your next step?
My next step is I want to create a festival in Japan.
Ooh,
Okay. Yeah.
Japan. Why
Yeah.
Japan?
I don't know. I just fell in love with Japan a few years ago. The music, the traditions and everything. Like, I just love Japan. It's like it's a calling. It's calling me, you know? So I want to create a festival in Japan. So I'm giving myself like 5 years to do it. My son is gonna
Yeah.
help me with it because he's My son is like a little, he's like a little manager. You know what I mean? Like he's good at like,
He's gonna
he has
be
like a
right
bunch
there
of
next to you.
yeah, yeah. He has a bunch of ideas and stuff. So my festival in Japan would be my next manifestation for in 5 years.
What kind of
And
festival?
um with people from all over the world, like artists from all over the world with food and also like technology, so like games for kids and stuff like
Definitely for Japan.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. So music, good food, and yeah.
I take
So
one thing from what you said just now
mhm,
about visualizing.
mhm,
I mean, you were well precise. I'm seeing myself in 5 years in Japan having a
yeah.
festival with
Mhm,
X, Y, and Z.
mhm.
That's
And I've
how
been
we
manifest.
visualize.
Huh?
That's how we visualize. I love it.
Yeah,
You're
and I'm
dead
not
set
done.
on what you want.
Yeah. If I tell you, I'm gonna tell you a little story before we end this. I don't know if it's done or whatsoever, but when my son was 5 years old, we used to listen to Ben L'Oncle Soul, okay?
Mhm.
This artist that I've loved for years. And when I was 17, he came to Montreal and I was supposed to open for him, but it didn't happen. Listen, it didn't happen. I was 17 years old. I'm 33 years old today. And in February, I was performing a big show. I was producing my first show with the Jazz Fest and everything at the Studio TD.
Mhm.
And then I saw his name. And I'm like, is Ben L'Oncle Soul coming to like he's gonna come perform in Montreal at the Studio TD? I'm like, oh my God, let me call my booker. I wanna open for him. So then I told my booker, and then nothing really happened on that side. But then I went on Ben L'Oncle's Instagram page and I wrote a comment under one picture. I'm like, let me open for you in Montreal, hashtag manifestation.
Oh,
And he slid in my DMs.
and he did,
He's
and you did.
he slid in my DMs, okay? And I have a bunch of videos of my son. Remember, I have a bunch of videos of my son dancing to his music when my son was 5 years old. So listen to the full circle, okay? So Bad Knuckler so slid in my DM. He's like, you know what? Let's do it. He
Wow.
was performing in Sherbrooke, Quebec, and Montreal. I did all 3 dates with him, and my son got to meet him.
Oh,
And so I have a video of my son
wow.
with him, and I have a video of my son dancing to him.
That is something else. Wow.
I was 17 years old
Hmm. And when did this happen? That you performed?
last year.
Oh, oof. Wow. Wow. I keep saying wow. I just don't. It's like so many beautiful stories. So many full circle stories, and
Full circles.
don't lose that fire. Don't lose it.
Never.
No, but
It's in my son's eyes.
yeah, there you go. If you're looking for your fire, go back to see your son. Go back
Yeah,
to see your kids.
yeah, yeah. It's true. Everything's there. They're like they're like little secret boxes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's us outside of us.
They're all little sparks to help you keep going because you just you latch onto those moments and say anything's possible. Yeah. Tabby, it was an honor to have you on this podcast. Before we conclude, do you want to tell us where we can find you? I know I've mentioned it before, but like precisely where can we find your creations and your songs, and where can we see you?
Actually, on all platforms, so Deezer, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, Tabi Yosha, TABI space YOSHA. Don't forget to add the 2 dots on the A, on the I, and on the A. Just no 2 dots on the O. And yeah, I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Facebook, Tabi Yosha, TABIYOSHA.
Find it
So yeah.
below. Thank you so much, Tabby, for taking the time to share your experience and wisdom. Seriously, it's one of a kind. I love it. I love it very much. And
Thank you
I'm
for
sure
having me.
it's going to help a lot of women out there listening who clear up some questions, maybe asking themselves where they need to go or what they need to do for the next step. So thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. To all you beautiful ladies out there, I hope you can take all this knowledge and apply some of it at least to your current experiences. This is it for us for today. Tune in every week on your favorite podcast platform. If you want to get involved with the Be Guided, Be Inspired community and you want to share what kind of impact you've had on others, or you're currently going through a tough time, come and meet us on the platform www.beguidedbeinspired.com. Thank you for listening. Keep sparkling, you beautiful women. See you next time. Love to you all. Bye.